Women's Rugby World Cup, folks. The quarterfinals are done. It is the big four sides that predictably made their way to the semi-finals, but maybe not without a little bit of controversy and not necessarily the way that all these games were supposed to go down. The Black Ferns were certainly pushed in their first half against the Springbok women. The Irish and French game was very close, had a bite in there. It was windy like mad. The Scots had some early pushing against the English before their forwards kind of ran riot. And tit for tat early in the Canadians and the Wallaroos game before the Canadians really put on a big first half performance. Apologies, this one's a bit late. I really wanted to try and watch as much of these games as I could. It's been a pretty hectic weekend with the amount of rugby on and the time differences, whatnot. Those are my excuses. Take them or leave them. But yeah, I've watched as much as I could. And we'll go through them. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how you reckon the semi-finals are going to go. Black Ferns in South Africa, I mentioned that was closer than expected in the first half. The South Africans had an unbelievable amount of ball. I think the possession numbers were like 80-20 in the first half. And they were doing all kinds of that innovative craziness, like lineouts with virtually no players and like 2-3 players in the lineout, 15 players in the lineout, lifting the halfback, all kinds of craziness. They were getting the mauls going. They burrowed over for the first try, got it up 5-0. Michaeli Tu'u for the Black Ferns went short, but the Black Ferns did manage to get kind of one that the South African girls will look back on with a bit of, what's the right word, regret or disappointment. The fact they got charged down led to a Black Ferns try, 5 apiece. Braxton Sorensen-McGee continues her try-scoring run. She got 2 in this game, potentially could have had 3. But Black Ferns went up 10-5 before the South Africans, with that kind of whole team line-out madness thing, getting advantage. 16 phases going over for a try to make it 10-all at halftime. Swiss de Bruin is doing great things with this side. But credit to the Black Ferns in the second half. They got those hands going. Their back line is so sweet to watch. From the restart, made it 15-10. Quickfire double. Turnover ball. Braxton got her second to make it 20 points to 10. 25-10 when Olsen Baker got her try. Braxton, again, went close to a hat-trick for that one. So 25-10. The main concern here from a Black Ferns perspective is the goal kicking was all over the shop. Renee Holmes couldn't miss the other day, and everything was going to custard on this one. So none of these tries converted. Waka did give a nice assist to McGee, to Olsen Baker for her second to make it 32-10. And that's all from kind of kicks, finding all kinds of space at the back and the backfield. So, yeah, it went out to 39-10, and the South Africans did manage to get a kind of second half consolation try to at least get them on the board in the second, but the Black Ferns weren't done. Vakolo got one with some massive power at the finish. Black Ferns are fully deserved winners in that one. I mean, the game stats tell you the story. Clean breaks, 12-3. Pretty dominant. Defenders beaten 30-14. Black Ferns tackled at 94%, which is excellent stuff. They certainly got a bit of a mental workout, though, in trying to how to deal with the Bok mauls and lineouts and whatnot. So that's certainly good prep for them ahead of playing Canada in the semi-final. South Africa's tackle percentage was 74, which is just, as I said, a wee bit too low. But they got a lot of carries from their front rowers, which was pretty impressive. Canada and their game against the Aussies, it was a flying start both ways. Asia Hogan-Rochester down the left wing with her gas for the first, but then Des Miller for the Wallaroos got one also on the left wing in reply. But that was the only scoring for the Wallaroos. I feel like Canada has this one period of really relentless play. Like they got one try TMO'd, but they just kept going. They had such quick hands. It was very, very easy on the eye stuff. Corrigan got one. De Goody got one. They had to kind of TMO check it that there was no knock on in the build up to that one. But yeah, they kept just going relentless rugby. They just always seemed to have more numbers on the field than the Wallaroos did. The Canadians, quick hands, made it 24-5. Australia did get held up on like 25 minutes. It was a time where they really, really needed to score because the game was slipping away from them. The Canadian defence held, and then they pushed the Aussie defence for a long, long time. before they got another one TMO'd. The Canadians, they did have so much position and territory, though. They got the maul going just before halftime to send Hunt over for another try for her. So 31-5 at halftime. The Canadians have had 61% possession, 59% territory. This game's only realistically going well, but the second half was a lot quieter. It took the Canadians 10 minutes to get another one, and they ended up opting for a 3 at one point. That's how much, waves of attack they'd been throwing at the Australians without score, but that made it 41-5. They did get the icing on the cake try through Pecan. So, yeah, it's a pretty emphatic display from the Canadians, but they also missed some shots at goal in this one, and we'll be a little bit disappointed not to kind of continue that form they showed in the first half into the second, when, as I said, it was a little bit more quiet. Canadians also tackled in the 90s, which is cracking stuff from them. The Aussies had to make 222 tackles, and that was at 82%, so by no means kind of easy beats in that regard, but it's just hard play in that game against the Canadians. For the Irish game against the French, this is the one with the controversy, with the bite. I think Irish fans will be pretty frustrated with the officials not picking that up. Like, the officials, they pick up the smallest knock-ons these days, but how they didn't pick up a pretty blatant bite by Bertomeu is surprising, concerning. Like, it was so obvious. The players even mentioned it to the ref. Very, very strange stuff. Obviously, this match was largely dominated by the conditions. The wind at the backs of the Irish in the first half allowed them to really dominate the possession and the territory. They were just, as I said, kind of relentless in the first half. They did get one TMO'd early, but it didn't matter because they got one from a tap play to make it 5-0. They didn't convert their tries either, which is a little bit kind of frustrating. But the wind was making the French kicks really tough. They were getting no distance on them. They were just kind of having to bend them straight into touch. So the Irish, apart from a few kind of handling errors, were still dominating the play. When they do the review, they'll look back at the chances they had in the first half and be a little bit disappointed not to have converted some more. France got a yellow card for an upright tackle, their tight head prop, and Ireland punished as their hands finally did stick from an attacking line-out play to make it 10-0, and they extended the lead with a penalty before halftime to make it 13-0. But realistically, like right before the whistle blew for half-time, there was a second French yellow card, and the Irish went 35 phases and could not crack the French defense. That's when they needed to score. They had 80% territory in that first half. That's when they needed to get it done, but it didn't happen. Second half starts, the French are obviously pretty frustrated. There's the bite incident on 42 minutes. As I said, how it's not spotted, I don't understand, because they spot way smaller infractions, but apparently there's been a sighting in that one. It looks like it's going to be a long ban, but I think it's been appealed, so we'll kind of wait and see what happens with that one. But poor miss from the officials. I usually give the officials the benefit of the doubt, but that one's a really poor miss from them. But France did get on the board with a penalty to make it 13-3, and then they stopped opting for the threes later on in the second half. They got the maul going. Ireland's turn for a yellow card for an upright tackle, and France punishing immediately. A great conversion in the wind as well. Made it 13-10, and then France scored probably the try of the match through Grisey on 67 minutes. That was kind of a length of the field, own 22 worldie. She's got such gas on that right wing. That made it 15-13. So 2 tries during the Irish yellow card, I feel like, is the difference in this game. I mean, Ireland did have a resurgence, went back to 15 players, but ended up coughing up a penalty, and France, their penalty slotted on 74 minutes, took it beyond 3 points. That's the final scoring, 18-13. France still had a deliberate knock-on yellow card at the death. Ireland had a 5-meter attacking line-out, but ended up just not securing the line-out ball, so it's a bit of a whimper that the game ends with from an Irish point of view, sadly. But man, did they give it a good crack. They had so much possession. They had enough chances to win this game, Ireland, which would have been a massive, massive result for them. They'll obviously be gutted, as I said, that the officials didn't pick up the bite. And France, you need to watch your discipline. So many yellow cards. Yeah, not good. Not good from them, but they are through to a semi-final where they'll play England. I didn't watch England and Scotland in full. I did know the result. It's 40 points to 8. It's a bit of a big old hiding. Scotland, from what I've seen of it, I watched the other 3 games, Scotland did have an initial period of pressure which ended in 3 points, but barring the consolation try at the death, that is their only points. And England get their forwards going. England scored 6 tries in this game, 4 of them through their forwards. Their loose head powered over for a couple. That's Clifford. They got another one not long after the first. They did have one TMO'd, but it just didn't really matter. Abby Dow got one out on the wing to at least give the backs something to cheer about when they had advantage out wide, but 26-3 at halftime. That's not a terrible scoreline for the Scots, but that's a long way back against this English team, who are now at 31 wins in a row, which is unbelievable stuff. Maul starts the second half. Amy, I don't know if I can say her surname because YouTube will probably flag it, but Kane, you know the one, 33-3. Aitchison got a really nice one from an inside ball for another one of the backs tries to make it 40 points to 3. So, yeah, only 2 tries in the second half for this English side. But the conditions were tough. I mean, it was still wet and windy in that game as well. Lloyd did really well to get a consolation try with the Scots that had a couple of kind of bobbled balls, which could have been knock-ons, but ruled backwards. So, yeah, she did well to really power over. But, I mean, interesting stat for me is the clean breaks in that game were 3 apiece. So the Scots weren't, like, cut up to pieces. They were just dominated up front. England had the possession. England had the territory. They are still going to take some beating. Semi-finals coming up. New Zealand against Canada. There's some recent history between those sides, so that should be really tasty. And then Six Nations rivals France and England go head-to-head, which likewise should be fairly interesting, given how close they played in the Six Nations earlier in the year. It's not going to be a foregone conclusion by any means. You guys let us know your thoughts. Who do you see winning the games? Is it going to be the Black Ferns with their backline? The Canadians with their forwards, they're more, and they've got quick hands as well, get the backs in action. Can you see France upsetting England's, again, kind of dominant set piece, maul play with those spicy backs as well? Can France keep 15 players in the field? Lots of questions. It's been an enjoyable watch. You guys let us know your thoughts. As I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.